Sir, your voice is not very good.
Still not okay?
No, sir.
Maybe let me know. Maybe we'll check the. I'll check. So it's been past our. So that's the research. So maybe let's get started for today. And again, this is a day one session of our mobile automation testing. Okay, so maybe let's get it started. And yesterday was a demo session. We had a lot of interactions with what and how and what we are going to teach and how we are going to teach about it. So, yep. So that's about it actually. So today, like, we'll continue with that, with those options. So did anyone miss out yesterday by any chance? Maybe just checking it. Ah, okay. Still the headset is a problem. Okay.
So now I think it is clear for me. If anyone
Yes,
else having
it's
problem.
better, huh? Ah, okay. Okay, maybe, yeah, it's clear now. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so did any new ones join the group by any chance? Maybe. So just trying to clear myself. Yeah, so if it's the same set of people yesterday, so let's get started then. So for now, what we have dealt about is like we had some introductory part and we saw about what is the native application. So web application and hybrid we have yet to see. We'll be seeing that one as well. And also like we saw about like what are the prerequisites for our automation. Okay. So these are some of the prerequisites. Okay. Like Java, Selenium, Android, Xcode and stuff. And we saw about some of the introductory part of our Appium automation, like what is it, it's an open source or a commercial or what type of thing is about. And I also shared you a link actually which you can go through it for the initial days actually, so before we jump into it. And then we saw about like advantages of Appium and who are the uh, like say the competitors of your Appium. And then we okay, the slide is a little bit distorted. Okay, no problem. So before going to our the deeper into the subject, let's know about something on the basics. Okay, on the basics, what we are going to do about. Okay, so let me increase the zoom in a bit. Okay, so I hope now it's pretty clear. So let's see about some basics of APM automation. Okay, see some of the basics of our automation. So what is app? Okay, and segregation, segregation of app. Okay, so what is SDK? Okay, and what are the uh, SDK and what are the tools required? Okay, so these things will have a basics of it. Okay, so this is what basically I call it as a basics of APM automation. Okay, so just to know what is what and what are the abbreviations and all those things actually. So in APM automation, what is an app basically? So app is nothing but, like say in any mobile application, we have an application. So that we need to install it from your app store or from your play store, and through which it works. Okay, so that means like application in the sense like your Flipkart is an application in your mobile device, your Amazon is an application, your LinkedIn is an application. So anything that you are going to install it into your device. Okay, anything that we are going to install into our device, we call it as app. Okay, I think let me minimize it. We call it as an app, and basically we segregate it into native, web, and hybrid. So native application, we explored about it yesterday. So what is native application? So any application that has been designed to work on a single platform, okay, we call it as a native. Web application is nothing but any application that works on a browser, we call it as a web application. And hybrid is nothing but any application that works works as native as well as a web platform within the app. We call it as a hybrid. Okay, so for example, so let me connect my Android device and I can show it to you. Okay, some samples, how does it work? Okay, and then we can deep dive in further. Okay, so again, I have connected my mobile device with my Android Studio. Okay, so I'll also tell you how to do this one, but once we go into the deeper to the session. Okay, so since it's like a primary session, so I want to know you, get to know you the basics, and then we go deeper, and then it works like that. Okay,
Sir,
so
sorry, small request. Sir, can you
I
please expand your screen and move these students or people on the right, maybe? Or is it my
uh,
screen? Okay. The one on the
uh,
top, all the
uh
names on the top.
okay, so you mean this one, which I'm you seeing it? This is the one.
No, I'm not sure if it's on my screen or if it's on your. I can see the name of the. Uh, okay, it's on different screen. Okay, no problem. I think it's my setup. So sorry.
Okay, okay, yeah, no problem. So I think like if you have something like this, right, you can just minimize this one. Yeah, yep, yeah. Okay. So if it's going to be something like a web application, so it's going to open a Chrome and then you can type in any website. For example, one of my client, like say if you go to www.atlantis.com, if you type in, so this is one of the websites in Dubai, the Middle East actually. So they have this specific orientation. For example, if you see this inside the browser in a device, and similarly when you go to a Chrome and then if you open it, so atlantis.com, so you can see some differences. Okay, so basically they are more concerned into the user experience than the feature, because they need to have all these things incorporated. Okay, so this is how basically it looks. Okay, so this is my Chrome browser and this is the application inside the device. So if you see it, so we all need to test all these things, swipe down, swipe up, all these stuffs we need to check it out. So this is what technically like a web browser's usage inside a mobile device comes into picture. So it's not only with respect to the browser that you're going to use it, but apart from that, the UI experience. For example, the same link. Okay, let me copy it. So I have a Edge browser as well. Okay, so how they relate it, I'm just trying to convey it to you how important it is. Uh, just a minute. Yeah, this is my personal account here. So if you just paste this link, right? So all the browsers should have the same type of orientation and same type of user experience. If there is a difference between browser to browser and the device to device, so some things might be distorted or something like that, then there will be a little issue. But you can ask me like, should I do it like this? So let me put the question to you. How many of you aware about the Chrome settings? Okay, or like say, let me give the question to you. Can I replicate whatever the mobile device, that means this device screen resolution into a Chrome? Can I do it up?
Yes, so there is an option to get it
Hmm.
uh, on a particular views of a device.
Yes. Can you guide me through how you can do it? You're aware,
Yes,
maybe? Yeah.
just
Hmm.
give me a second.
Sure, sure, sure.
So on mobile phone, I have seen sometime that we can change it to
Hmm.
desktop side in
Yes,
mobile.
exactly. Yeah. So in case if you go over here, you can see there is a desktop mode. Yeah, you can see it over here. View as desktop.
Mm.
So you can see there is a little like this. Yes. You can do this way in a mobile and in a Chrome. So it's pretty simple. If you click the three dots and
Inspect.
you go to setting, sorry, there is an inspect, right? So
There is
where
an
is it?
inspect, and in the right side corner it should be somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'm searching for the inspect. Oh,
You can click on
So
F12.
F12
More things.
maybe.
yeah. So it's in the more tool actually. They changed it and it's in the developer tool. Yeah. And maybe I'll just slide down a bit over here, and there is an option over here where you can change the resolution. Like say you can change it to different orientations, different items and all those things. So okay, so this is how you do it up. Okay.
If we
So
use Selenium,
mhm.
can we automate it like this in browser?
Yeah, it's possible. Yes, should be possible in Selenium, because you can, there is a class name called dimension available. You can set the dimension for it as x and y. So this is x, 412 is x, and 915 is a y. So you can set it up in Selenium as well. Yes, it's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is as well, like say when you consider the APM part, so this is also crucial. Some people like say they consider if you do like this and it should be fine and they move out. But in a certain companies, they are more focused into the user experience, as I told you. So they need different sets of device and how to use them and how they can utilize that user experience to a normal one. Okay, so that type of testing is also sometimes preferred, and that testing only we basically call it as your how to say the web application testing. And hybrid is totally different, so it combines the native application and then the browsers along with that. We call it as your hybrid. But nowadays hybrid application, the usage has been very limited actually, I would tell. So most of them are adapting towards the native application and then they perform it up. So for the hybrid application, for example, let me open an application. So this is the demo application, Swag Labs. Okay, so I can give you this one. Okay, sorry. And you can enter the username. So username and password, if you scroll down a bit, it's at the bottom. Okay, so I'll just give the standard underscore user, and then the password would be secret sauce underscore sauce, and then I do a login. So it goes to the login one. So here I can, it's kind of a e-commerce website, so where I can do a add to cart and do all those things. And here over the menu, you can see something called a web view. Okay, so click on the web view and you need to enter an URL, for example, https:// www.ping.com, something like this. And then you can click go to site, and then you can see a website has been opened. Okay, so this way of using this application is nothing but your, we call it as your hybrid application. So that means from the native application, you can see still it's a native application because you can see the application over here at the top. You have the menu, you have everything available. But the web page alone, you can see it's embedded with some web page. So this type of architecture only we call it as a hybrid application. And technically this hybrid application, this web page that it is opening, we call it as your web view. Okay, a new term called web view. So web view is nothing but it's part of your application. Next, I can tell it as part of the application where it calls the browser. So what browser it calls? Basically, it calls the native browser of the device to invoke the websites. So that's what we call it as a web view. So web view are like say mostly you can enter any websites. So mostly it will be product related websites and all those things depending upon the application. So another classic example would be like say if you go to a banking application and maybe I'm not sure nowadays it's that's the case or not. Like say you might be opening to something called your uh, terms and conditions and all those pages will be like a web view. Okay, so how to identify it is like say that we'll see it in the programmatical way because how to identify it, we need to check it programmatically. Okay, because there is a segregation like native. Okay, it's all capital native and web view underscore name of the web view. So this is how it will be available. So by this way only we can identify it. Except this, there will be no other way to identify it. And most probably all this web view applications will be part of your Android. So it is no or not at all part of your iOS, because iOS is purely a native and only in an Android you can integrate all these stuffs together. Okay, even though in iOS, for example, let me open my simulator and then I'll tell you. Okay, so let me open a simulator. So all these configurations will be seeing it to you, but not right away, because it's quite a like a lengthy process. So before that, we need to know some basics. So we'll see the basics and then we'll move ahead. Yeah. So if you see it over here, this is a simulator, the same Swag Lab application. I'm opening it. Okay. So let's give it a few more seconds actually.
Sir, I'm not clear with native and hybrid. Can you give
Yeah.
example of native app, please?
Yeah, sure. So native app is something like, say, it is developed for one particular platform. For example, you can see this my demo app, right? So this is developed for iOS, correct, right? So that means now I'm opening in iOS. So this app is developed only for this specific platform, and that will be available inside your app store.
Sir, if you're showing anything on the screen, then I can see only basic of Appium automation.
Okay, so you don't see my iOS device?
No, sir, I can't. If anyone else can.
Okay, let me see why there is a problem. Just a
Now it's a
second.
team chat, we can see.
Okay, okay. Let me stop sharing and let me reshare. How about now? Can you see my simulator?
So, yeah, I can see a device here, iPhone
My
16
demo
plus.
app.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, okay, okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. So, yep. So this is okay, or I can do something like this. Let me mirror my iPhone so that you can also see it up. Okay. Just a minute, guys. There is some memory issue. Okay, fine. For this one, if you see it, right? So this is also the same app that we have seen it. Okay, but what happens if you see it? So the architecture is different. So if you see it in my Android Studio, so you can see the way it has been developed. It's pretty different. Okay. Can go back like this. Okay. So let me show it side by side. Okay, so this one which my mouse pointing out now is an iOS and this one is an Android. Okay, let me force quit few things. I think there is some memory issue.
Sir, one thing, when these
Mhm.
emulators and simulators are so slow, how can we do the testing? I mean, how it's gonna save our time?
Okay, so actually simulators will be a little bit slow. Simulators and emulators, but
Mhm.
due to the budget and cost constraints, they still stick on to it. It works because it looks like a looks
Real
to be
device.
slow, looks to be
Mm.
slow, but the problem but the advantage is like, say, it still works. Because if you consider a team which has like, say, 20 people, okay, assume a scenario, and you need to test on different devices, you cannot keep on purchasing the devices, correct, right? So you cannot purchase like, say, 5 Samsung, 5 Oppo, 5 Vivo, 5 Google, 5 iOS devices, then your budget constraints will become more higher. So assume a scenario, you are going to invest more than 2 to 3 lakhs in the device alone infrastructure, so to test the application. But is it worth it? That's the question. So will it be worth it? Okay, because if you see on the core part of it, so everything will be running the same OS part. Correct, right? Same Android only it's going to run. At least iOS, there is no other platform, no other way to go. If you purchase two devices with a different screen resolution, it should be fine. Okay, so that itself will cost you around like say 1 lakh to 2 lakhs of budget. Okay, because as an organization, they use a provider, and that provider will already charge a huge amount, and we cannot go for some offers or something. So it is a bit costly. And apart from that, you need to test Android as well. So if you want to test an Android device, so you can hold two physical devices maximum. At the most that I've seen in any organization, they give two real devices. That means two real handsets to work around. But apart from that, they don't give it up. Unless and until the updates are getting older or something, they just throw it out and then replace it up. For rest other things, they use kind of this simulators or emulators, even though they are pretty slow. Okay, so if you see it now, right, since it happened in my mission actually, okay, but most probably it should not happen. The simulator that I'm using is an iOS one. Okay, so this iOS simulator, like say, it's pretty good. Okay, so I'll tell you the difference. What is between a simulator and emulator? Again, there is a two concepts available. Okay, simulator and emulator. Two concepts are available. Both are not same. Okay, mind that one. Okay, both are not same. Both are two different things, but similar, I would tell. Okay, so if you see the simulator right now, I created a simulator with this iOS 18.2 version and then iPhone 16 plus, which I'm using it. Maybe this device has become very slow. So what I will do, I will change it to something like an iPhone. Let me see, just a moment. Let me change it to something with my name. Yeah, let me see whether it works. Okay, so maybe the loading is pretty slow, I think. Yeah, no, it's fast. Okay, so now I need to install that device. So I'll tell you how to install it, but if you see, I didn't encounter that memory issues because that device it's having a little problem. Okay, so maybe I need to delete and recreate that one, but I'll show you how is it. But before that, let's try to understand the web view concept actually. And also you asked about like say a native application. So native application is something like say in this is my Android device, right? And if you see it, any application, if I open it, maybe for example, if I open this Alanis, right? So this application is for this specific platform Android. Okay, and if I try to open the same thing or search for the same thing inside my iOS, for example, okay, this device is not working, I think. Just give me a moment. Okay, let me open my real device and then show it to you. Just a second.
So you saying this app LNEs, is it
Mhm.
for Android, right? And what if you open this thing in iOS? Is it,
That's what I
can we
was.
install it or not?
Yeah, that's what I was coming to tell. This application I downloaded for Android. So I'll go to my iOS App Store and try to search for the same application, whether it is available or not. Okay, so that's why I took this example. So that means like say if you install it inside this device, okay, the same application may not be available over here as well. That was the query. I'm searching for the Alanis. You can see it's not available.
I can't
Okay.
see anything, but if you're saying it, it's fine. It's fine, sir. We can save
Uh,
time on it. It might be on another screen, but it's okay.
okay, so you don't see the iPhone mirroring over here?
No.
Is it for everyone?
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, that's pretty weird. Just a minute. How about now? Do you see two screens?
Yes, sir.
One is with the iPhone and another one is for the Android.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is pretty weird. But every time I need to reshare, I think. Okay, not a problem. Okay, maybe let's see. Yeah. Okay, so if you see over here, this part where my mouse is moving, this is the Android one, and this is the iPhone one. Okay, so if I give Alanis over here, right, for example, so I couldn't see anything listed over here except this utilities and something that is popping up. But this, as you can see it over here in Android, it's something like an electronics market, so where I can purchase a device. So this is what basically a native application is about. So if they have developed only for an Android, so it works only in an Android. Okay, it doesn't work inside an iOS. So, but most part of it, like when people try to develop an application, they try to develop for both the platforms. Okay, because why I say both the platform is like if you go for an Android, you have a Play Store. Okay, the Play Store cannot be installed from an App Store. Okay, that means from an iOS, and same way from an iOS, it cannot be installed inside a Android. So both cross platform will never exist at any point of time. So that means from an Android, you cannot pick an app and then try to install in iOS. Not possible. From an iOS application, you cannot pick any app and install it in an Android. Never possible. So this is what that is getting segregated as a native application. Okay. So native application is built upon like say two platforms. Okay, so if it's an iOS, the architecture and the programming language, everything will be different. So in iOS, it's going to be built upon something called a Swift or a Flutter. Okay, and inside an Android, so basically it is built upon something called Java or Kotlin. Okay, any of these things. Okay, and as you see it, it's totally a different programming language, different platform, so both can never coexist. So that means like say you cannot put an application from Android to iOS or iOS to Android. So that is how basically it works. Okay, so does that seems to work? What is a native application?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but the same thing, a web application is different, quite different. So, as I told you, the web application, so it needs just a browser, not anything else. For an iOS, basically it requires a Safari browser. So, because that's the native browser of any iOS, I would tell. Okay. So, if you take any iOS device, Safari is the native one. And even if you go to www.atlantis.com and enter it, so it opens the website. Okay, so when you open it here as well as inside the Android device, okay, for example, if I go to Chrome, both will be almost the same. Okay, so there wouldn't be any difference. So to develop these applications only, they have different like say different frameworks like say Vue.js, Next.js as a Next.js as a server side, and React, Angular, all these comes under building of these items inside your Android and your iOS. So there is no different platform over here. Only the HTML, CSS will be brought in over here, and then the servers will be configured. So here there is not much difference. So anything you can use it up, and it's a pretty simple one. And hybrid is the thing that we were discussing now actually. So if you open your Swag Lab, if you go over here and then do a web view and you enter a URL and then it navigates it. But the same thing, if I try to do it inside an iOS, that will be never be available. Okay, so there is only like say 1% chance that and iOS can implement the web view. The rest other things are completely native. Like say any applications that you open. For example, let's see something like Google News. Okay, so this is also iOS based application. In case if I click this particular item, you can see it's opening a new page within the app. It doesn't go beyond the app. So even you can do a close and come back to the app. This is possible. But in an Android, like say, technically, if you see, that's where the segregation happens. So you have something called a native and a web view, and name of the web view will be available. So this content you'll be see it, you can see it only when you try to investigate the application. Okay, so to investigate the applications, we have some tools available which we'll be checking on the tool section over here. Okay, so let's post it till then. Okay, for the tools. Okay, how to identify it. But one of the identification parts only we call it as a web view. So web view is only the part which will help us to identify whether it's a native application or it's a web view application. Okay, without knowing this, we cannot proceed with the automation of the hybrid application. And most probably nowadays there is no hybrid application. I can't see it. So everything now it's built upon the native application due to security and the features that it's currently having it up. So all the application seems to be a native one. Sometimes in very rare cases, for example, even if you see it, I have something called HDFC. Let me show it. If I open this one, you can, let's see, click here and you can see this is also a native application, and inside that you have something like a browser. So this is what I was telling. Okay, sometimes like this it might happen. So how I'm telling this is a browser is like you can see the cookie details available over here. You can set the cookies and all those things. Based on this only, this also we can identify it. But whether this is a web view or not, how to identify it, not pretty much sure unless and until we do a technical analysis on this application. So maybe we'll do that, but not right away now. Okay, first we'll see what are the tools required, and from the tools we'll take it up. Okay, so any doubts still here, like what are the segregations and of the application and stuff?
No to me, sir. Thank you.
Yep, sure. Now coming to the segregation, how does these two apps in one in mobile and one in Android and one in iOS is done? So there is some extensions available in the mobile application which will be helping us to do on this one. Okay, so what are those extensions? One is a .zip file, .apk, another one is the .ipa. Okay, .zip file when it is used, when we use application on a simulator.
We can't see the screen if you're writing anything.
Still, okay, just a minute, let me reshare. But why is it stopping the screen sharing? Just a second, let me see if there is something missing from my side. Okay, how about now? Can you see the BB edit?
Yes, sir.
A notepad, I mean to say. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so when we use an application on a simulator, we use a .zip file extension. Okay, and let's put this at the last. Okay, and then when we use application on a real device. Okay, simulator, let me specifically mention iOS and real device iOS. So this is the extension. If it's a zip file, that means a simulator with an iOS. If it's an IPA, then it's a real device within iOS. And if it's an APK, when we use an application on a real device and simulator, but this is for Android. But this is for Android. Okay, then the extension will be .apk. Okay, pretty simple. So we do have an example for each one of it actually. So let me share the repository link with you. So in case if you have any iOS simulator or a real device, you can just install it and check it up. Okay, but just a second. Even in an Android, you can check it up. Yeah, this is the one. For each one, we have an example. So we'll be checking it out. Let me ping the link to you. Okay, where is the chat? Okay, I think you will not receive it here again. I'm not sure why it doesn't send the SMS, sorry, the message. So what I will do, I'll just ping it in a WhatsApp chat. Oh my God, what's this? Just a minute, guys. Just a minute, guys. Let me scan it. Why it's not doing it up? Yeah, so I'm not sure why it's not pinging in. Yeah, so now you get the link actually for the application. So you can try downloading it and using it up, or just you can try download it and keep it ready so that when we see it in the session, you'll come to know about it. Okay, so now this is the segregation. How does it work? Okay, so maybe let me ping this also to the extension for you. How does it work?
Sir, where is the link? Sorry, is it in a chat?
I put it in the WhatsApp chat actually,
Okay,
but
WhatsApp. Okay.
yeah, because it's not sharing it from the Teams. I can't see the tick mark still over here, so I'm not sure why. Okay, so that's why I share it in the WhatsApp. Okay, yep, in WhatsApp at the time. Yes. Okay, so maybe in the Teams, I don't think so. Okay, let me try it from here. No, it's not working in the Teams. Okay, I need to check this one. Why it's not going through the Teams, but still you can access it from the WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay, so this is how the segregation of application is about. Okay, so application extension, I would tell. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, because you cannot mix and match it up. That means you cannot install the IPA inside an Android, and you cannot install an Android into an IPA. So this is totally not feasible. Okay, the configuration, it will not take it up. Okay, so the next one would be the SDK. So this is again one of the topic that we touch based yesterday. So the abbreviation will be SDK, Software Development Kit. Okay, so any device, iOS or Android, should have the respective SDK installed to make it work. Okay, so SDK, so that means like say if it's an Android. Okay, so that means like say your software version is nothing but your SDK. Pretty simple. Okay, so FT software version is nothing but the SDK. Okay, so for an Android, I think the latest version is 15. Okay, and you can have your 15 version inside the device or anywhere it ranges. Okay, so it depends upon the device as well, because some devices in the market they are restricting the software version to a certain limit for the particular device version, and some things sometimes some devices will have an extended software updates. So it all depends upon the what version you're holding it up. Okay, so may I know like what device you're holding it? Maybe you can ping in the chat whether it's an Android or whether it's an iOS. Maybe so that I'll come to know like what is the majority of people are using it. If it's an Android, you can just type in Android. If it's an iOS, you can just type in iOS. Yep. Or let me see whether I can create a poll or something like that. No, it's not possible in Teams.
So you are not getting any messages.
Yeah, so I think you're able to post. I'm not able to see, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also I need to check it with the Isha team. Yeah, I see people typing, but not able to do. But I hope like most people are
Android.
segregated between Android and iOS. Yes. So is anyone iOS holding over here? Maybe you can unmute yourself. So shouldn't be an issue actually. Anyone is using iOS? Or you can give some emoji or over here. Yeah, someone gave it. Yeah, thanks Eric. Yeah, so iOS part, he's an iOS one. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's where this segregation happens. Okay, so your Android has 15 and your iOS, the current version is 18.2. At least to me, I just have the 18.2 version available. Okay, so this is the SDK version. Yeah, yes please.
It's 18.3, the current one.
Current one 18.3. Yeah, I was about to tell. So at least I have only that version available. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so I think it's 18.3, the latest version. Yeah, that's good to hear. Maybe I try to update it today, maybe. Yeah. So this is how the SDK versions are available. So, but there is a restriction in the SDK versions, at least in the iOS side actually. So in an Android side, you'll be still able to use from the older version to a newer version when you have the Android Studio. Okay, so it shouldn't be a problem. But in an iOS, we have some restrictions. Okay, so if you are using your Xcode in order to create a simulator or in order to connect a real device, there is a limitation. So they give only updates for two versions. That means like say if it is an 18, they give only till 17 and 18 and stuff. And where can I check for the versions in an iOS? Android, pretty sure it's very flexible. You don't need to worry about it. It still works fine. Okay, even you can take the older version and install in a new device. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay, but for an iOS, how to check the version? Compatibility. Okay, so let me take it out over here. I had a website compatibility. Okay, sorry, it's Xcode. Xcode compatibility. Yeah. So this is the compatible one. So they have a table of metrics actually. So it depends all on the Xcode that you're holding it. Okay, so you can see it. The iOS version 18.2 it supports, and if you have the Xcode version 16.1, this is the iOS version, and then it goes on below. Okay, so this is very important when you're trying to do your iOS part. Okay, so you need to take this also into considerations. Okay, so let me ping that website as well to you just for your reference. Okay, so this is a compatibility check, and if you ask me, same thing is if it is available for an Android. So it also has it Android. uh, so Android is basically free of it actually. You can have it at any levels. So you can see it on this page. There are different sets of Android level versions. Okay, so you can have a quick look at it actually. So it's not a big deal actually, because anyhow we are going to deal with the latest one. Okay, the 15, 16, it's not yet available. So it's in the beta level as you can see. So don't try to install it up. I don't think so it will be available, but this is the links. Okay, so this is how basically it works. So this is the SDK version that you need to consider it about. Next will be the tools required. What are the tools required for us? So basically we are Java. So we need the Java version that needs to be installed. So that's the first one. And the second one, to debug or create an emulator, we need something called an Android Studio. Okay. And if you're a Mac guy, that means a Mac person. Okay. Then you need something called a Xcode. Okay. So that is mandatorily available. And apart from this, what we require is like we need something called an Appium inspector, and then we need to install something called a node or an npm. Okay, so we can use this one, and then the tool that we are going to use it about, we can have it like, say, for scripting we can have either IntelliJ, or you can also have it as something like an Eclipse. You can have it up. So these are the infrastructure that we need. Okay, and basically if you ask me, like, say, what is your laptop configuration that you need to have, so technically if you have an 8 GB RAM and 512 GB hard disk, should be fine. And 8 GB RAM, like, say, maybe most of the laptops or desktops now it's coming as minimum 8 GB RAM. But if you have a 16 GB, it will be more comfortable, because your Android Studio or your Xcode inside your Mac Xcode, I think your Mac should be very well sufficient with the 8 GB. But your Android Studio, I think, like, sometimes I hear, like, say, with 8 GB of laptop capacity, it becomes a little bit slow. Okay, so make sure you have this setup actually. So if it is slow and you're able to manage it, I think should be fine. Yeah,
Sir,
but
I have a
should go.
question.
Mhm.
When you're saying
Yes.
we're gonna use IntelliJ or Eclipse, but
Hmm.
most of the companies they use VS. So I
Hmm.
mean, I personally, even in my company, they use Visual Studio. So isn't it hard how we gonna match our skills with company tools then?
Uh, Actually, shouldn't be a problem. I would say, even I have the Visual Studio Code, but running a Visual Studio Code with a Java, like, it's, I wouldn't say it's like a tougher part, but it's a difficult part. That's it.
Sorry, if we are a tester in a
Mhm.
company like on a APM,
Mhm.
can we tell the company that we can do it on IntelliJ or Eclipse, or they're gonna
Yeah.
choose it for us, what tool they need?
Usually all the organizations will have an option actually. So even though
Hmm.
like Visual Studio is a light code device, but when you install the plugins, right, the extension, like, say, even I can install a Java plugin over here. Okay.
Hmm.
And you can see over here, this is a Java Corporation one. I install it and then I trust it and then I use it up. It's still fine. No issues going to be there. But again, your Visual Studio is going to be bigger, because it's going to install this plugin into your device, that means into your system, and then you can use it up. Okay, but how do you run this particular Java? Okay, because you are going to build a framework, and every time you
Hmm.
need to go to your terminal, and then you're going to run it from a particular platform called a MVN, and then do a test. But individually doing a debug is a bit problem in Maven. So that's the reason like we choose something between an IntelliJ and an Eclipse. Okay, so and again an organization, when we come to the organization part, so
Hmm.
IntelliJ and Eclipse, they do have an option, still it exists. So
Okay,
I'm
sir,
not
from your
sure about yeah, I'm not sure about IntelliJ, because there are two versions of IntelliJ. One is your community version, another one is your uh, paid version. So paid versions are costlier. Okay, so I cannot assure they'll have the IntelliJ, but Eclipse, it's an open source, so they will definitely have that one. Yeah.
okay, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry, something you
what
were
is
saying.
the
Yeah.
most commonly used one then? Because
Hmm.
uh, I personally I have not seen many companies using Eclipse, and
Hmm.
but most of them are on Visual Studio. So as a tester, it's gonna be tough for us how to configure that, with our project. That is just a
Hmm.
confusion. I mean, I don't mind whatever we
Hmm.
using
Hmm.
here, but my
Uh,
concern is that even if we practice on Eclipse or IntelliJ, how we gonna cope up with Visual Studio if we get a job somewhere?
yeah, shouldn't be a problem. It's I wouldn't say not a big deal. We can see like say all three things. Maybe I preferably use IntelliJ because of the easiness actually. But
Okay.
what we can do it is like we can try to develop something like a small script or code, and then we'll try to put it inside a Visual Studio Code, and then we'll run it and check it up. Yeah. So that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank
But
you.
my concern was like say when you do a debugging, right? That's where the real problem comes, because I don't think so Visual Studio has any supports in debugging it, because I have not seen it anytime soon. But maybe I'll check it up. Yeah. But when you come to the debugging part, right? So your IntelliJ or Eclipse has more uh, good debugging options.
Okay,
But
sir.
I'll check
Whatever you
that
say.
on Visual Studio
Okay.
Code. Yeah, yeah. But shouldn't be a problem. So if you want to execute in Visual Studio Code, we can go ahead with that. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I would say. Yeah, because any tool like we need to be able to cope up with that. So that's the current situation right now in industry. Yeah,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so okay, so that's it. I think today we can see. So it's already like 10:35, 10:34, I think. So tomorrow we'll have the discussion on simulator versus emulator, and then we'll see about like few stuffs related to towards our automation, so regression, functional, and how to write some test cases inside mobile test cases inside, and what are the features available inside a device, and all those things we'll be checking it out. And then slowly we'll migrate towards Java part. Okay, we'll see the coding side first, the core part of Java, and then we'll slowly move towards the Appium part of it. Okay,
Sir,
so
one more
maybe.
question. Sorry.
Mhm.
How can we
Yeah, yeah.
access this file from where?
You mean to say whichever I'm showing
This
it now?
one. Yeah, yes, sir.
This one it's just written over here. So if you want, I can share it in the WhatsApp. Yeah, I'll just
Because we
share it in
might
the WhatsApp.
need this as a note.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I'll just save it and I'll share it across in the WhatsApp group. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, sure.
I just have a question. I was
Yeah.
I'm wondering
Hmm.
how we are going to integrate that with any ID available, whether take it as IntelliJ, Eclipse, or Visual
Hmm.
Studio with the Android Studio.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay. So you're talking about like how we are going to integrate the Android Studio with the IntelliJ or Eclipse.
yes. Yes.
Okay. So basically, we are not going to use your Android Studio to integrate it, because why I tell the Android Studio is like, say, some organizations will ask you to use your emulators for testing. So that's the main reason I use the Android Studio. So inside the Android Studio, so we are going to I'm going to show you, like, say, how you can project your device over here, like how I do it now, and also how to create emulators and what are the features required to create an emulator, so that I'll show it to you. But apart from that, the Android Studio to IntelliJ or Eclipse, there is no connection.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, one more point is like the device and IntelliJ or device and the program, there is a connection. So that connection only will happen with the help of something called ADB, Android Debug Bridge. Okay, only that portion we'll be learning it exhaustively, like what are the commands available, what we can do and how we can do and stuff. Yeah.
The scripting we are going to do in Android Studio or in IDE or
IntelliJ
yes.
Eclipse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So maybe any more questions? If not, just the
So
same slide
I
as,
have a
yeah,
question. Not
yeah.
a question, really,
Ah,
a clarification.
yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, can you open the notepad on your end? I just want to
Okay.
ask something about
Hmm.
segregation.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
segregation. Yeah, this is the one.
yeah, the IPA.
Hmm.
When you use IPA, it's
Hmm.
a real device on iOS.
Yeah,
So like
correct.
you will get those. Maybe you are trying to test an application on
Exactly.
iOS,
Hmm.
and okay, previously I've tested an iOS app. That's on
Hmm.
manual test, but they usually refer you to test that you get the app from test flight.
Exactly. Yes. Test flight, that's
So
one more option actually.
yeah,
That's like, say, it's like before going to production, what they do
yeah,
it is like they adapt towards something called a test flight. So that means
yeah,
they put it on the app store and it will be
yeah,
accessible only for a certain set of people.
yeah, yeah. The same as
So
on Android, we use Firebase.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So
So yeah,
my
yeah, please
question
go ahead.
is,
Hmm.
when automating mobile apps, they
Hmm.
still refer you to use test flight and Firebase on Android.
Technically, no, they don't use it. That's only for manual purpose. Why? Because it's finally the end product that you're going to test it. So it can be from different source. So anyhow, the test flight and the Firebase, it's all like, say, kind of a cloud environment. So they give a URL, and from the URL you can download it and then run it inside the application, the device. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So usually what they do it is like whenever they develop the application, whether it's an IPA or an APK file, so they just put it inside a cloud environment. Okay. So to maintain the versions, and from there you can get the link of it, and then you can download it to your device.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, because most probably all the business users, they need to access it before it going to a production. So that's the reason they have the test flight and some internal testers also available. So that we cannot automate it currently. People are not automating it. So that's the reason still it's a manual one. Yeah, because it's all like,
Oh,
say, production data. So they don't want to mess up with the production data.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Hello.
Yes.
I just wanted to understand the basic difference between simulator and emulator. If in interview they are asking, so what is the basic difference?
Yeah, so that I had as a separate session for tomorrow, but I can just give you an overview.
Okay.
Like, yeah, emulators are something like we give only to the Android, and simulators are something that only it's sticking onto iOS. So both has a considerable difference on the technical perspective. Like, say, emulators will replicate the behavior of software as well as the hardware. And the simulators will replicate only the behavior of the software. It doesn't care about the hardware. So that is a prime difference actually. But we'll talk about this in detail tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's the overview of it. Yeah. Okay. So any more questions so far?
So the notes you have given now in WhatsApp, that is the only notes, or are you giving any kind of other notes uh, later?
This is like, since it's an open session, like we give it, we converse it this way. But once you enroll it for it, like we have some GitHub links where you have some PDFs, where you have some Word documents, everything will be available where you can access it up. Yeah. So
Okay,
Excel
whatever
sheets,
you are
PDF
saying,
text.
everything will be there in that notes, right?
Yes, yes, for your lifetime access. Yes.
Okay.
All the docs, PDFs, everything, interview questions, everything will be available.
Since we don't have any Mac system, we
Mm-hmm.
have Windows only, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can only work on Android APK files. So
Uh,
in case we,
for iOS, like you have an option of cloud environment. Like you can
okay.
connect it to the cloud environment and you can work on it. But it's only like a free period of 30-day trial available. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in case we get any openings for iOS also, we can go for
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. This course that what you're trying to enroll is like, say, teaches you like end to end actually. Even though if you don't have the Mac machine, so the steps are like clearly available. So, and we are there to support even after you get the job. So if there is something, like we can help you out. So the docs and everything's are in place. So it shouldn't be an issue, I would say. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Because as you know, like it's not like everyone comes with a Mac and then lands. So
Hmm.
we have seen like I've handled like couple of 10-20 batches, so out of which like at least one person has a Mac, the rest other people are Windows. So it's like they do it on the setup might be an issue, but you can project it in an interview that you have did a cloud-based testing on an iOS, which will more project your profile more. Because nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
like purchasing a device is also an expensive one. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason we have like a lot of cloud providers where they maintain simulators, emulators, and real device on a cloud environment, and then they access it up. So that's also one way of projecting your resume. So you can work on one cloud. Maybe it's like monthly 2000 or 3000, I think it comes to it, but they give like the initially like 30 days free. So if you're not able to complete your sessions within the 30-day, you can opt for 1 month for 3000 and then practice more and then get back to it. But I would say like it's like an easy one, so within 30 days you should be able to do it even as a beginner. Maybe if you wanted an extended one with all the features of it, then we need to extend it. We need to give some 2000 or 3000 to the cloud environment and then we can access it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay. So any more anything so far? Okay, so if no other doubts are there, so thanks for giving a chance and getting a second session. So we'll proceed with these sessions going further. Okay, so maybe I think next 3-4 days, I think it will be open. So in case if you're planning to enroll or do something, kindly reach out to this mobile number. So this is Mr. Kumar sir, and he takes care of the sessions and the class enrollments and all those things. So just get in touch with him, and yeah, we can get going on with that. Yeah, so tomorrow also we'll see about the difference between simulator emulators, and we'll see like say how to maybe most of you are using an Windows laptop, so let's see like say whether we can try to set up a Node.js or something like that, and then let's kickstart with the small things, and then we'll go about with that. Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
thanks for giving your time, and let's meet again tomorrow. If there is no questions, feel free to drop off if you're fine. and who has questions, please stay online. So I'll be there for some more time to answer you.
No questions. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Maybe Rupa, you have something? I think you raised your hand. Yeah.
Yes, Avin. Thanks
Yeah.
for that. Actually, like I just wanted to know, like once we create the Appium script in the Eclipse, right? So,
Mhm.
is there any possibility, like you are going to show me or like show us that, like how to connect with the Appium tool?
Sorry, Aptim.
Yeah, Appium tool.
Okay, so what is a Aptim tool? Can you come again? Aptim.
Yeah, Appium tool actually. So of course
Aptim.
it's a paid version, but we do have the desktop version as well. So currently we are using
Mhm.
the same the Appium tool, the licensed one. We are using in our
Okay.
organization. Actually. So just to
Mm,
run the performance testing. So I just wanted to know like how the connection the established between the Eclipse and the Appium tool actually.
Okay, maybe I'll check on this one actually, but shouldn't be a problem actually. Maybe nowadays, like in Eclipse Marketplace, we have a lot of plugins. So maybe I'll just double check it. If there is a plugin, we can do it up. If not, there will be always like say a pipeline available, like Jenkins or GitHub pipelines available, which will have support for this app team. So maybe I can check upon
Uh,
it and yeah, yes, please.
Mm, because currently
Mhm,
whatever the setup we have in our company, so we don't use the
mhm,
Jenkins and
mhm.
the one more thing what you said, the Jenkins and
Jenkins and GitHub. Yeah, GitHub.
GitHub. Yeah, so both we are
Yeah.
not using it actually. So
Mhm,
actually this complete framework has been designed by some ex-colleague actually. So wherein the person is not
mhm.
there currently working. So like
Okay.
I
Okay.
started up with the directly using the framework, whatever currently it is
Mhm,
established. And I'm
mhm.
like, I'm good with the Android and the iOS scripting, everything, all the transactions and mentioning everything. But like only thing I just wanted to know like how the connection has been established from Eclipse to the app team.
Aptim. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Okay. Got it. Got it. So maybe let me look around this one. Okay. And maybe I'll get back to you. But shouldn't be a problem because there is a pipeline integration and all those things are available as I can see it from this doc. So yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, because in iOS, like we have like say Xcode itself will performing these performance based operations. So
Right.
that's why like I think like this one is a complete new tool, I think. So maybe I'll check upon this one. Yeah, but shouldn't be a
Okay.
problem. Yeah, there should be a connectivity. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just I wanted to know on that part because like I'm
Mhm,
good with like running the test and like generating the test engine reports and all the
mhm.
resource metrics, everything. But I'm not sure like where to look around. So where the correction has been established.
Established. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
So
We can
that like
check
I
that
need.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Definitely, we can
Thank
check
you.
it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, is there any more questions? Okay. So, if there is no questions, have great rest of the day, and let's catch up again tomorrow. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Yeah. Bye bye.